When we came here, Ashmount was continuously grazed. We have been doing a rotation for over 20 years at home, and we could just see that place to reach its full potential, then it required a change in the management practice. I guess in 2020 the property was still recovering from the 2019 dry period, and so it was a matter of time and rest without animals in the paddocks to actually get things happening again. And the other thing was that the water system, while adequate for the previous owner, it was not adequate for what we wanted to do. There was big distances to back of paddocks with lots of unused grass. And so that was one of the big sellers, was the potential. So our main management change was that we actually, even though the paddocks are still relatively large to what we're used to, we just put a rotation in place, and that combined with some pretty good seasons has seen enormous increase in pasture growth, and also we're finding the bare patches are filling in. It will probably pick up with cutting up. We could pick up 30% in carrying capacity quite easily. And the aim is to get this so when you walk on our country it's soft underfoot, which is what home has turned up like.
We first found out about this project through Rowan and Sarah, who went to a workshop in Dunkeld, and there was a map put up on the wall, and Rowan checked it out and said, oh, Ashmount fits into that catchment. And then I followed up with SQ Landscape to find out what we could do to help improve our water infiltration and to improve the country, and we sort of just followed on from there. And I guess SQ Landscapes had access to Glenn Landsberg, and he came out here, had a look at the place, and then came up with a bit of a plan, and then came back and worked with us. The thing I like about Glenn is that he actually lays the banks and gully erosion stops out for you, so you don't need to have the skill to actually place things yourself. He ran around on his four-wheeler and with his ripper behind and marked out 16 kilometres of banks in 3 days.
So when the creek floods, where we're driving along, the water used to just go straight across the road and into the paddock to my right, and then just head across the paddock and straight into the creek. The banks have changed all that. We're taking water out of the paddock on the left-hand side. When the creek busts its banks, channeling it across, there's banks on the right-hand side. I'm not sure whether you can see the ground cover we've got in there, but we have got ground cover, whereas previously we didn't. That water is the absolute key to everything, really. If you want to grow grass, your most limiting factor is water. When you put these in, you know you're going to have to maintain them. We've actually got the grader coming next week to do some work on them. We'll fix the brakes and just, where silt's gone into the sump, we'll get that out and build the bank up a bit more. The reason we've come up onto this jump up is to be able to hopefully see the banks that are in this paddock. There's probably about 4 or 5 k's in this paddock. So we're just up on top of the ridge now, just looking down into the paddock where the banks are, and you should be able to see a pond of water down there on a gully. There's banks running out from there. The banks are pretty much grassed up from this distance, so it's really hard to see them now, which is a great outcome. We will go along and do some maintenance on them. For 60 years, neighbours have been driving past thinking nothing ever grows there. After this summer, we've now got neighbours saying, well, that's amazing, in the whole of my life I've never seen anything growing on that bit of country. With Glenn's assistance, we've seen dramatic changes from absolutely bare ground to, well, at the height of the wet season we had grass up to, where was it, up to your thigh or something, and good species. We didn't do any seeding, we just let nature take its course once the water was there, and cheap too, that's the other thing. I mean, obviously SQ Landscapes can contributed as well, but if you just looked on a cost per kilometre and what you're actually producing from the grader work, it really is a cheap alternative to actually get things happening. The potential in southwest Queensland, all of Western Queensland, anywhere where water comes out of rivers and stuff is enormous. It's it's quite mind-boggling, and there are heaps of people doing amazing stuff out there. To paraphrase Glenn, I think people are just after the extended dry in the 2010s through to 19. People have realised that if they're going to survive long term, then they have to start using the water that falls on their properties.